Aquaba Medofopa. Today I'm sharing with you this classic dish that my mom used to make only on Easter Sunday. I don't know why, but yeah, maybe it is just reserved. It's so special, it's just reserved for special occasions. And this dish is called Apapransa, made with Tom Brown and palmnut soup. So I'm going to show you how I recreated this dish in my kitchen. So pull up a chair, sit tight, and let's go through it step by step. For the palmnut soup, I used some smoked turkey, some fresh shrimps, some dried fish, crabs, some smoked mackerel, smoked catfish, some dried mushrooms. So I have a video about how to make a flavorful palmnut soup using different kinds of meat, so please check it out. All right, so the dried fish, this is what I wanted to show you. I get these from the Indian shop, the South Indian shop. It's very similar to our dried herrings, but these are quite salty, so you need to wash them well, soak them in water, and then wash them well before you use them to reduce the amount of salt. So here's also the catfish and the mackerel, home smoked mackerel. You find a video on the channel on how to make your own mackerel. And here is the dried mushrooms. I chose this because it brings another earthy flavor to palmnut soup. But what you need to do with dried mushrooms is to soak it in boiled water, let it plump up a bit, squeeze out the water, and then you can use it in your soup. So here I added the boiled water to soak it. To start off the soup, I seasoned it with some of the green seasoning. There's also a video on how to make or how I make my green seasoning, so please check it out. And I added in the usuals, the onion, the tomato, some carrots, and some pepper, and then started to steam it. Adding black-eyed beans to your Apapransa, I think, is optional, but when you add it, it's really nice. So I cooked some beans and added it to the soup. Sit tight and watch how and when it goes into the Apapransa. So now the tomatoes and carrot and onion had softened up and it was ready to take it out. Also, the crabs were ready to take out. It was well seasoned, it was cooked, and because I didn't want it to break with all that process the whole soup will go through, I decided to take it out. And it was now also time to add in the palmnut puree. So we are making palmnut soup. I didn't show it at the beginning, but yes, of course, we need palmnut puree. And I want to give you a tip here to be able to easily scoop out your palmnut puree from the can. Just dip your spoon in some hot water and use it to scoop. See how easily it comes off the spoon. So the spoon gets nice and warm and it easily slips off. Okay, the palmnut puree easily slips off. So I blended this palmnut puree to make it nice and silky smooth. And I'll also recommend, depending on the brand of palmnut puree that you use, for you to sieve it. I knew this brand and it was okay. I didn't need to sieve it. Sometimes you get some of the chaff and the grits still remaining in it. So sieving it is really good to remove that excess chaff and grits from the palmnut puree. So the puree went into the pot and I let it simmer a little bit more before I actually took out the tomatoes, the onion, and the carrot, and I blended that and it went back into the soup. So before that actually goes back, the blend of the veggies goes back into the soup. The soup is really light, so you may ask, why do we, I see that Ghanaians, we do this. So why do we add tomatoes and onions and blend it and put it in the soup? It's just to thicken our palm nut soup. All right, so the more of these veggies that you add and the more simmering down you let your soup goes through, your soup will thicken up nicely. And I also wanted to give you a tip. If you struggle to find your palm nut soup to thicken up, I would say add lots of carrots. So I started off with 1 carrot and then I decided to add an extra carrot because, hey, having more veggies in your soup is also good. And I wanted it to thicken up a bit more. All right. So as you can see here, the soup is really light before the blend of the veggies goes in and the simmering process to happen. Your soup is really, really light. Okay. So yes, I blended everything. It went back in, mixed it up, and then it was low heat, half covered the pot, and I let it simmer down. Please find a full recipe on how to make palm nut soup on my channel. There I go step by step and actually take you through the whole process of making palm nut soup. Today we are making Apapransa, so the focus is not making the soup. I assume you already know how to make the soup because you have been following this channel for a long time. If you have not been following this channel, please go back and check out all the various videos I have. You get to know how to make the green seasoning, how to make palm nut soup, what protein you can use to bring a lot of flavor to your soup. So please do check it out. So when the soup cooked for a good 45 minutes, it had thickened up. It was almost ready. So I added in the dried mushrooms, which I had soaked in boiled water. I had squeezed out the water so it was not so watery. And then I added that into the soup. And then I also added in some salt. I like to salt my soup or food at the close to the end of the cooking process so that you know when all the flavors combine, you know how much salt you need to add. And also I then added in the smoked mackerel and the catfish. So here the soup was still not very thick, and actually I didn't want it very thick because I was going to use it for the Apapransa. But it all depends on personal choice. You can make it really thick or kind of, a honey, or how we'll say it in tree. So it wasn't as thick, but it was good for me. And then I added in all the extra bits. The crabs went back in so that everything will marry and become one soup and the flavors will just develop. At this stage, I wish you were in my kitchen. The aroma and the scent that was going through my nose, it was just so good. Look at this soup. It was just so good. Medafupa, if you have enjoyed this process up to this point, do like the video, share. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Thank you to those who have subscribed. Don't forget to click on your notification button, and so you can watch more videos. So here the beans was also almost cooked, ready, nice and soft. I let it simmer down a bit to thicken up before using it. So I'm sure you're wondering, when is this Apapransa going to start? We are almost there. The soup is cooked now. I'm just skimming off a bit of the oil. I mean, this oil is liquid gold. You can use it in your abumu. I have abumu recipes on the channel here. Check it out. And you can also use it to drizzle over your Apapransa. Or, you don't really need to have all this oil in your food. So please skim some off. Okay, so the next stage is making the Apapransa. All right. But let me just show you how to skim off palm oil from your soup. So you just gently put your ladle on the surface of the soup and allow the oil to flow in. You scoop it over the surface and the oil will just flow in like that, right? And you put the oil in a container. You can freeze it for later use or just keep it in the fridge if you're going to use it within a week. Okay, I hope you have got the trick. All right. Okay, so let's get on with the Apapransa. Pull up your chair. If you have taken a break, come back, sit down, and let's cook the Apapransa. So with Apapransa, you need some of the soup. All right, you don't need use all the soup. So you take an amount of soup and then you cook your Apapransa, and you can add more soup if you want, depending on how much Apapransa you are cooking. So here I got my soup in the pot, and then I added in the cooked beans. This is where the cooked beans come in. And when you put the beans in the soup, you may want to mash some of it into the soup. It really makes it nice and lovely. It adds another flavor to it. But whether you mash it in or you let it just be in like that, it all depends on personal preference. And after that is done, the pot is still on fire. There's fire under the pot, so the soup is still cooking. All right, it's not off. And then you add in the Tom Brown. So here there's no measurements to it. All right, because how much soup or how much Tom Brown flour you use and the consistency that you need is all based on personal preference. So we cook by judgment. You cook on the go and you stop when you think you've got what you want, the texture that you want. So as soon as you add in the Tom Brown, you need to quickly mix it in, pressing out all the lumps. You want it nice and smooth consistency. Once that first addition has been mixed in, you add some more, and then you add more. You mix again to make sure all the lumps are out. All right, and then you keep adding until you find the consistency, or you reach the consistency that you prefer. So Apapransa, when it cools down, becomes a little bit thicker. It thickens up more. So usually I would say that let your final consistency whilst cooking be a little bit softer than you actually want, and then when it cools down, it will be nice and thick and firm. If you happen to add too much flour, then you actually wanted to just add in some soup. So it's important to have your soup close by so that you can scoop in some of the soup if it's too hard, right? Or if it is too soft, you add some more flour to it. So every time you add the flour, you have to make sure you mix it up really well and press out all the lumps. And then you allow it to cook so that all the rawness from the flour is cooked out of the Apapransa. So I kept adding more flour, mixing it in, and then checking the consistency to see if it was right for me. I like my Apapransa a bit soft, not too soft and not too hard. Some people like it hard because you can serve it with the palmnut soup, or some people just like to eat the Apapransa without the palmnut soup. So it all depends on your personal preference. If you've never had this dish before, I would say go for a medium soft consistency, serve it with the soup, and then see if you like that version. If you didn't, the next time you try it again, try it a bit harder or a bit softer until you know which preference you actually like. All right. And you also need to make sure it is cooked through by covering it and letting it cook properly before you serve it. Otherwise, it may feel too raw. So Medovpa, I am so happy that today I've been able to share with you this recipe. It's been years that I've been trying to get this recipe recorded for you here on YouTube. On my Instagram channel years ago, I did a live session, cooking session, and I shared the process, but I'm sure those who even watched may have forgotten. So I am so happy I've been able to record it and have it here on the channel for you to watch whenever you want. So if you have liked this video, please like this video for me, give it a thumbs up, comment, say something, let me know you are there. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, okay? There's more videos coming. It really does encourage me as well. I've been on this journey for a while and I love sharing my recipes, but the truth of the matter is recording the recipes, video editing isn't my thing. That's why I have been inconsistent. But when I see that you are watching it and trying the recipes, it encourages me. So my dear Medovpa, do subscribe, okay? Send me a comment or put a comment there. Let me know you're watching. Share it with your friends and your family, and join the community. Hey, so finally Apapransa is ready. It has taken a long time, but it is ready. I mean, this process is a two-stage process, so you need to be patient with it. And it really works well with leftover palm nut soup. Really works well. All right, okay, so to scoop your Apapransa, you want to mold it beautifully, and to do that, use a calabash dipped in water, and then you scoop it and you mold it and you put it in your serving plate. And then if you're having the palm nut soup to go with it, just put your palm nut soup on top of it, add your fish and your crabs and everything that you put in your soup, and serve it beautifully. All right, this is our Apapransa. If you have liked it, please click on the like button, share with your friends, and call them to come and join Aftrad Village Kitchen. Thank you for watching so far. I know that this has been a long video, but I didn't want to edit out too much, otherwise you'll miss important steps. So thank you for sitting through and watching this video with me. Don't forget to click that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Try this recipe, let me know how you like it. Yes, and let me hear from you. Someone asked, why do Ghanaians have the crab shell on their crabs? Why do we do that? Let me know in the comments if you do that, or if you prefer to take it off. Okay, I also have a video on how to clean your crabs on the channel, so have a look at that. All right, and turn on your notification button for the next video. Thank you very much for joining me today. See you in my next video. Bye bye.